Hey everyone, this is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. It looks like we are going live here. Welcome everybody. So while I'm waiting for a couple people to join up with us, I eventually I'll start to make announcements for these when I'm going to do them ahead of time. But for now, if you're watching, you can get the idea that I'm usually going to do a live stream on Monday or Tuesday. Probably in the late morning. Those would be the days. Mainly because I do a live Zoom class on Tuesday. So Monday I do video critiques, but I'm flipping the days today. I won't get into that, too much confusion. So today's live stream is going to be about something a little bit different, something that I usually teach in my perspective backgrounds class at the School of Visual Arts, and that is how to draw a 2-point vertical interior space. Maybe at the end, if we have a little extra time, I'll answer some questions and perhaps I'll do a figure drawing or two. But I really wanted to do a 2-point vertical interior. Now, 9 out of 10 times, or actually 10 out of 10 times, when I'm drawing this for my students at the School of Visual Arts, we're all working in Photoshop in the classroom, and I am working digitally. I would have liked to have done that digitally, but I wanted to get on YouTube here. I didn't plan it out. Next time, digitally, okay? So what paper do I have here? I have... well, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can't find where this video is on YouTube in case I get any questions. Okay, timeout. I know. I'm sorry. Just bear with me for a second. So let's go here. Cool. There we go. And here's the link to the video. Sorry for this. We're going to get started drawing in like less than a minute. Okay, and I'll lower the volume of my computer so there's no feedback. Perfect. Okie dokie. So why don't we do this? Let's get started. And yes, I've got my little Post-it note to give you like a little bit of a cheat sheet of what we are going to do before we actually do it. Okay. So in essence here, what we are going to do is first on our sheet of paper, draw a vertical. Okay. And then we're going to put a point kind of in the middle of our piece of paper and a point at the very tippy top. So that's what we're going to do first. So plan on, if you're going to draw along with me, that we're going to be drawing this vertical first. And basically what we are drawing is the inside of a box, which will be a hallway with maybe we'll do a torso on like a platform at the end of the hallway, almost as if it's a museum. Okay. So now let me do this. Let me get a sense of, let me just click on my video software because I want to make sure that I get this right on video camera. Okay, good. This is centered. And so very lightly what I'm going to do, so YouTube can barely even see it, I'm going to try to go like a little bit faster. And that's pretty straight up and down for my camera. Okay, cool. I'll take that all day long. Now I'm going to put my first point way up top. And then I'm going to put my other point maybe about here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just say that, okay, cool. I think this would be my horizon line. That's where my eyes are going to be. Okay. So remember, we are drawing the inside of a box. So the beginning here is going to be like a little bit confusing for you, but just kind of bear with me. So first thing I'm going to draw is where the hallway kind of meets the floor. Now, these are level in my studio on camera. They're a little tilted. This is the hazard of doing perspective on YouTube with a video camera that is off to the side. It kind of skews all the lines. So now what I would like to do is perhaps, let's see, I'm going to come down here. Yes. Okay. And then I'm pretty much trying to draw where that floor meets the wall. Okay. And now, let's see, am I on the, yeah, I'm going to say this is right here is where my floor meets the wall. This is going to come together. It's going to be good, people. Just bear with me. We're just starting here. So now what I feel like I'm teaching in class because I go a little bit slower so people can kind of follow along with me. Yes. So now I'm going to draw my vertical where the corner of the room meets where two walls meet, where the back wall meets the side wall. Let's just say that. Now I should be a little bit more. I'm just doing this freehand. I'm not into using rulers when I draw perspective. Everything is freehand. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a decision. How tall is this room going to be? So I'm going to say the wall is going to be about yay big. And now I'm coming down to that central point, and now that's our back wall. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is get the other wall here, and awesome sauce. Okay, so right now on YouTube, this probably looks like garbage because we haven't shaded it and it's pretty rough. So I'm going to just now let's put in the two walls. So our two walls, this is one wall. That's our other wall. Now notice, people on YouTube, I am not drawing with my fingers. I am using my hand. Okay, so now that I've got this in, I'm going to keep it a little bit smaller here for a minute, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. As a matter of fact, I think I can zoom in a little bit right now. We're a little far away. As long as I've got those points on the paper, I'm good. Okay, because I've got to draw a floor over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw floorboards, okay? So I'm actually going to come from the point. It feels easier for me to do it that way right now. So from the point, from the point, from the point, from the point. Okay, good. So those are my floorboards. Awesome sauce. Good. And maybe we're going to do, I always joke with my students, these things are called, I can't believe I'm saying this on YouTube. These things are called butt joints. If you have like a luxury vinyl floor in your house that simulates real wood, there's butt joints. They're all over. And if you have a hardwood floor in your house, yes, there are butt joints. They're all over the place. And what these like little butt joints do is they make me laugh, but they make the floor look like a floor. I'm going to just put some like fake like little nail holes in right over there. Yeah, that's kind of fun. And we'll do some wood grain texture in a little bit. And now my next step that I really want to do is I want to draw a molding, okay? And this is one of the most important things that I teach to my animation students is a molding. Now that just looks like another line on the floor, but it's not. So what we're going to do now is put some verticals here, and that would be, that's kind of like a thin, short molding. I would have liked to have done it a little bit bigger, but you know, it's fine. I could always add on to it. So I'm going to do another molding coming from my vanishing point over there, and now I'm gonna like shade my vertical line up to our second point at the top. Okay, awesome. Everyone on YouTube is like, oh my god, I can't believe he's doing this weird perspective drawing, but it's going to be a really cool background, I promise you. So now I'm going to do the back molding over here, and as I do this, I'm probably going to say to myself, Matt, why in God's name did you do this on newsprint? Because you can't really erase that well. Okay, so we've got a floor, and we've got molding, we've got our back wall, we got two walls, and we've got our ceiling. So now maybe what I'm going to put in here is a window. So everything on this wall needs to go up to that point. So I'm going to put like a little window over here, and yes, awesome sauce. And let's have the bottom of the window here. Good. And I'm going to do another window right next to it, and the bottom of the window sill. And I'm just going to use the line that I already have established, and the top of the window right about there. Okay, love that. Love that. So now I think what I need to do is I'm actually going to draw the platform. Let's see. I'm going to draw a platform that maybe holds a figure. And yeah, so you see, I almost made the mistake. I was drawing that line vertical, straight up and down, but it needs to go up to that point. So now I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do that. It's going up to the point. So in this particular case, I don't think I would see the sides. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of leave it as a box like that. Now, so next steps here. Next steps. Sharpen the pencil, Matt. Sharpen the pencil. Let's do that. Cool. And how are we here? Let me just see something. Cool. All right. So now what I'm going to do is on the floor, yes, I'm going to start to do like a little bit of like a wood grain. And I don't want to overkill it. A little bit of wood grain. I like doing this digitally so much better. I would have liked to have done it digitally, but I don't want to just all of a sudden dive into working digitally when I've been working with pencil so much on this website, on these live streams, I should say. So I got to make sure that I also don't lose my floorboards. Yep. So a couple more little suggestions of like a wood grain. I'm just kind of freehanding this out of my imagination. I've drawn this wood grain floor so many times in my perspective class that I can kind of do it in my sleep. So yeah, let's just do a couple of more like little doodads over here, and don't lose the thicker lines. As I progress on this newsprint, I'm going to keep pressing down harder. And we'll see if we can't go through the paper. It's just practice, people. I'm not worried about doing a masterpiece here. I'm just trying to teach you new techniques. And this is, if you like to do backgrounds for your animations or your cartoons, or just, you know, something different, this is a really cool way to do a 2-point vertical perspective. Okay, so now I'm in all honesty, I'm really not used to doing this with a pencil, so this is interesting. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's interesting. And with newsprint. So I'm really planning out as good as I can my pressure with the pencil, so I don't make a big hot mess. Okay, so yeah, I forgot about all the erasing that I was gonna do, and maybe it'll be a good experiment to see for you to see me crash and burn here on YouTube with newsprint. So now we need to put a molding, aka casing, around the windows. Okay, because if there's no molding around the windows, it just looks so blasé. That's a special art term, blasé, and you don't want to do that because that's not good. It just looks like a little boring. And so we've got like a window there, awesome, and we've got a window over here, and it's going to go off the scene. Now, what we do as we progress is that we crop this scene and we create a composition. We'll see if we do that at the end. Okay, so I've got 2 windows there. So I've got my floor, I've got a wall, I got windows, I got a base for our model. And then, yes, now I'm going to start shading. Okay, so I'm going to just shade this wall because I want window light coming in from these windows. So as I shade this, I am kind of shading up to that vanishing point up above. Okay, so yeah, I'm just kind of doing something like that, and I'm just going to shade up to that vanishing point, and I'm coming on down over here. I need to be solid with the way that I shade. That is the biggest obstacle for my students, is that they do not shade in a solid way, and shading in a solid way is extremely valuable. Because it simplifies your image. Now, what I'm going to do also is I'm going to go a wee bit darker, and this is where the newsprint's going to gonna kind of kick me in the butt because it can't really handle too much abuse. I'm gonna go, yeah, lesson learned, Matt. Do this digitally or with traditional paper next time. I'm gonna go a little darker with the molding because I just think it's better that way. I have this beautiful saying that I like to say over and over again, giving away all my beautiful secrets here, different things, different values. And for me, that is really, really an important thing to image making. And yeah, so now I'm going to match that molding and just go a little darker with it over there. And, if you're trying to figure out a scene, this is a great way to start it. And so this wall would be darkest because let's say this is like a dark scene, and I might come on in now, a couple different pencil stroke directions just for a different texture. And yes, so cool. So now let me resharpen my pencil. And if anybody, listen, I get it. This may not be the most exciting thing for you because some of you are into figure drawing. But if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask. And if you have any also thoughts on classes for this live stream, that would be really valuable. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to do a quick little. I got to be careful because I can't erase. So I'm doing a torso at the end of this hallway, and navel and leg going up. And so we've got, I don't like that. Okay, let me tilt that down. I got a little tangent there, so no harm, no foul. I'm going to lower my stand. And so, yeah, we've got like our little torso at the end of the hallway. And let's say this is perhaps like a little museum. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade this way. So I'm going to make a pretty big hot mess out of this. So let's say now I've got window light. I've got window light here coming from that window, and it's hitting the floor. And so I'm going to have to use my eraser. And then we've got window light over here, and it's hitting the floor. Okay, so now I'm not going to erase yet. I'm going to shade, shade, shade. Good. Shade, shade, shade. And that's going to be window light. And then this is going to be shadow. Good. Shadow, shadow, shadow. Awesome. And a little bit of shadow over here because that window light wouldn't be hitting the floor there. And then I'm going to go with window light over here. And so that window light maybe would be going up on the wall, and I'm going to have that go to perspective. Yes, absolutely. And then maybe on this wall, what we always do in perspective class when we're drawing interior spaces is we always draw picture frames on the wall just because it's easy. And it's a great way to show perspective. Now, I don't know. Yeah, okay, good. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is shade in my foreground because I want the vibe to have like light and shade. Good. And I'm going in perspective. Awesome. All right. So now what I'm going to do is perhaps I'm going to just do this back wall of value, but not super dark. Not super dark. I thought I would have done a little bit of a better job on my torso there. I don't like that at all. But let's see. Let's take the mono zero. Does this erase? It does. So I'm going to erase that leg. I don't like that leg. Okay, let's yeah, better. And so let me just continue now with the shading. Now, I gave up this ebony pencil for many, many years. This was like my go-to when I was a college student, and then I never used it again for I can't tell you how many years because I only drew with the Coal Erase. But lately, I've just been having so much fun using newsprint, like in my figure drawing class, with my Derwent drawing pencils, and I love them. It's great, and I also switched over to this pencil a lot, the Lyra. That this one helps me too, like so much when I'm drawing the model. So I'm just trying to switch it up because I got a lot of videos on YouTube, and I'm always using the Coal Erase pencil. So it's nice to switch things up. Now I had that light going over there, which I just butchered, and so let me go a little darker here. And let's see, how does the kneaded eraser work? So the light's coming down. Kneaded eraser works perfectly with this. Sweet. Okay, little light over there. Good, 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 good. Now, what I'm going to do perhaps is zoom in again at risk of losing our point up top over there. Or, you know what? I'm going to lower. Maybe you can just bear with me here for a second, people. I'm just going to lower this and zoom in because it's kind of far away. And I would like it to be a little bit closer. Okie dokie. So now I just got to tape it. And good. Almost there. Almost there. I'm sorry for the arm through the video. I love blue tape. It's the end all and be all in this studio. Good. Okay. A couple more pieces of tape to solidify this paper. And now I'm going to just zoom in a little bit more. Okie dokie. So, pencil. Awesome. So now I need to go a little faster. I need to go a little faster. Now I'm going to smudge all this, but I'm pretty okay with that. So I'm going to go a little bit darker here on this frame. I need to be more sketchy. A little bit darker on that frame. And yes. So now, alrighty, time to resharpen the pencil. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to come on down, reinforce these floorboards going in perspective to that point. Yep, I could come from that point if I wanted to. Since I already have the... Yeah, okay, good. Good. And I could really just go dark with them in the shadow part of the floor if I wanted to. Notice I'm not drawing with my fingers. I am drawing with my arm. My fingers are staying holding still. And now I'm going to, let me move my keyboard. I'm going to just come on in over here and do a little bit more wood grain. Just trying to make a little bit of a mess on the floor. Perhaps like a little butt joint. Maybe some of the floorboards are a little bit thinner and a little bit more wood grain over here. That's kind of cool. Yep. Good. Awesome. Now I'm going to make this molding thicker. I want thicker molding, a little bit more formal in this hallway museum situation. And so I'm going to go to my point up top that we cut off. Awesome. And yeah, molding a little bit higher, but it would be a little shorter because that's at the end of the hallway. And then as the molding comes towards us, it's going to get like a little bit taller. Good, good, good. Okay, my vertical lines, you can't really see them, but they should go up to the point just so you show the viewer like a different surface plane with a different sort of line. And now what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to press down a little bit harder just to make this wall look a little bit darker. And I want to use a bunch of different pencil stroke directions. Yeah, so I really want this wall to be darker. Now, the problem with doing it this way is it just really takes forever with the pencil. And I'm going to go like a little bit darker over here. Now, maybe if I wanted to, I can experiment with my blending stump and see what that will do. I know it'll make it go faster, but I've got to get more graphite down on the paper before I can start mucking with another tool. Yeah, so let me get like a little bit more graphite down on the paper. Good. So this could be a really cool way for you to sketch things out quickly for those of you who don't work digitally. And I'm going to go like a little bit darker here. Again, doing this digitally is killer for me. This is what I do in the classroom all the time. We just did 3-point looking up, 3-point looking down, 2-point looking up, 2-point looking down perspective in class, and it's truly like one of my favorite classes for the animation students at SVA. Okay, so now, yeah, I am going to use the blend-in stump. Okay, so we're just going to make this thing go by like a little bit faster over here. So now maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the pencil into the paper and try to preserve my windows over there, because in order to have dark, you must have light. And yep, I'm just going to make a little shadow over here. And what this also does is it pushes the pencil into the tooth of this really cheap newsprint paper, because it is pretty cheap. So yeah, and I don't recommend that you do any finished drawings on newsprint, although I did a pretty cool landscape last week for drawingtutorialsonline.com, because we're in the midst of like a 5-week block of doing landscapes. And today's landscape, our Zoom class that starts at 2, let's see, who in God's name is calling me? Okay, spam. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're in the middle of a 5-week block, how to draw landscapes, and I love landscapes. And it's how to manipulate your photo reference and change things up. So if you have sometimes you have like a really beautiful scene, but it looks boring. So you have to change things up, add a little perspective, where to put busy, where to put empty, all that kind of jazz. So, all right, a little bit of a challenge here with this scene with the newsprint. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to see what I can come up with. So I'm going to press down harder on this wall, maybe press down harder on this molding. So I'm probably getting to the end of, if there's any questions coming in, I'm not getting any of them. I wanted a couple of questions. Maybe they're a question. Nope. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Let's keep going here. So a little bit more shading. A little bit more shading. And a little bit more shading. Okay, so I've got that darker frame. And I'm going to resharpen the pencil. Awesome. And let me press down harder. And press down harder, because everything's getting a little muddy right now. So you want to make sure that you have a full spectrum of values. Good. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, we're good. A little bit more aggressive with the floor in the corner of the hallway. And yeah, maybe a little bit more aggressive in the shadow. Awesome. Now, I should draw out the figure a little bit better, and let's try that. Let's go here. Back, rib cage, oblique, butt, shoulder, breast, rib cage, in, out with the abs, in with the abs. Could I have made a bigger navel for like a little statue? Yeah, maybe I could have. So let's get rid of that ginormous navel. And this erases pretty good, actually. I'm pretty impressed with how it erases on newsprint. Gosh, okay. And we're going to put in a shadow side. Now you have to kind of make a decision. What's going to be darker? Is the background going to be darker or the statue shadow? And I didn't really make a decision. I just kind of made them the same values, which is kind of not good. So maybe I can make that wall a little bit darker. And there would be like a little metal pipe at the base of the statue holding it up. So now I'm just going to be like a little bit of a lunatic. Press down harder, press down harder. Different directional strokes. Make sure you have some of these strokes going up into perspective to our point up above the image. And I need to go darker here with this corner. Darker, darker. Awesome. So we're kind of getting there. It's a slow go. So now this is what we usually do next in class is we crop it. Okay. So I should have some paper here, but I'm just going to kind of go for it. So I'm going to say I'm going to come down maybe to here. I'm just going to make it centered. Yep. Make the border part of your sketch. I'm just being a lunatic today and having fun. So I'm pressing down harder, big, hard border. Okay. Wow, this is interesting working with this pencil and newsprint. You can get a good amount of that. Look at my hand. Great. Good stuff. Listen, just so I know the chat is actually working, does anybody have any questions? Why am I not? Okay. So one suggestion for a question, and you could put this down in the comments when the live chat is finished, and for those of you who are watching, if you're still watching me, if this is not boring you to death, like what is something you would want to learn on the live stream, like moving forward? Portrait stuff, figure stuff. I love it all. I love doing this also. I'd rather do this digitally, and I need to explore just how to live stream digitally so I can see everything on the screen, comments and all that jazz. So, okay, you see what we're doing here? We've now framed it, how to start studying anatomy on my own. Okay, so how to start studying anatomy on your own. So what I would do is I would make sure that I had at least one or two anatomy books. There's a lot of junk anatomy books out there. There's a couple good ones. I like anything from Sarah Simblett, Simblet or Belt. Sarah Simblett's pretty good. So I would get one or two anatomy books, and they also have really good anatomy apps for physios that you can get that you could learn a lot of anatomy there. But it all just becomes a little overwhelming when you get the anatomy book. So what would be next step? So next step would be to just start with the bones. Don't start with the muscles. Start with the bones and draw one bone a week. And I suggest to start with the easiest bone possible, the clavicles, the collarbone. And so you draw the clavicles in one or two positions, and then you find a piece of photo reference that basically where you can see the collarbones. And then you draw that part of that figure and their collarbones, and you kind of superimpose the collarbones on your figure drawing so you really understand them. And so that is, so maybe I'll do that at the end of the video for you, just to show you what the heck I'm talking about. But yeah, no, that's a pretty awesome question, and that's how I would do it. And then next bone, easy, low hanging fruit, the scapula that sits on your upper back, and it kind of glides. It's supposed to glide over your rib cage, but there are so many people who have frozen shoulder that their scapula barely moves on and barely glides on their rib cage. So that would be the next bone that I would learn how to draw, the scapula, because they're not overwhelming. And I would draw it by itself in one or two different views. And then I would find a figure drawing where I think I see a photo reference, I meant to say, where I think I see the scapula. And I would draw that and try to superimpose it on the figure drawing. So I'm just gonna so that's my recommendation. And yeah, so start with the bones. If you start to try to learn the bones and the muscles at the same time, it's going to become so overwhelming for you, and then you're just going to say, yeah, this is too much. I kind of give up. And your brain's going to want to go elsewhere. So let's just try to put in a couple of little details. So let's do some bars in the window. Yeah, this is all this newsprint's going to be able to take. And let's do a little bit more of a picture frame. Oh, I was a little messy with that. And then there's another thing that's called a lead-in. So I'm going to do like a little bit of a lead-in over here. Maybe it's like a little box, the corner of another. So this would be kind of level. And that would go to the point. And my verticals are going to go up. I want it dark. Yep. So it's just something in the corner of your image that's kind of like a lead-in. And if we wanted to, we could erase some info out. And I could be a little bit neater, and I could also put a little bit more information on the floor. So this is a great way to draw a little scene in two-point perspective looking up. And if you want to learn more like this, check out drawingtutorialsonline.com, because I have an entire semester of my perspective class filmed. I filmed it as a live stream on Zoom, and it's on my website, and I cover everything perspective-wise. And now when I say perspective, really what this is for are your animation backgrounds. And so I teach the class at SVA, and I also teach live at my website, drawingtutorialsonline.com. So I filmed that semester, one semester for my students on the website, and I don't know. I love both. I like drawing perspective. I like drawing backgrounds. I like drawing the figure. I won't erase that out 100%. Now, the room's kind of boring. It's just like a little bit of an empty room. Well, let me just show you a couple of other things that maybe you'd want to do. Maybe you could do some wallpaper stripes on the wall. um, just like a little variety. So it's not maybe, um, well, big truck. I live in the suburbs. We never have a big truck come down this block. Yeah, so just a couple of lines, suggestive, I should say, up to that point, and and I'll just do it on this wall. So come down from the point. Cool. And I think that's it for this like little sketch. We've been working on it for about 40 minutes, and it's certainly nothing to write home to mom about. But I just wanted to come online and show you something different here. Uh, Other like there's a lot of other things that we can do. You can do multiple. Let's go to the point. Multiple picture frames, and let's see here. What am I doing? So yeah, this would go up to the point, to that point. So maybe this is going to have a thicker frame. Now I've got a tangent there on the edge, which is a no-no. The shame on the teacher has a tangent. Um, so I'm just going to put something in that frame, maybe like a little suggestion of a landscape. I'm going to go darker over here. Yes. Now, look at the mistake I made. Look at the mistake I made. The window light's coming from the right, but I have the opposite light on the figure. Let's change that so I don't look like a fool on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to now change it, and I'm going to erase this. And yes. So now our little torso statue is completely flat, right? What did I do with that pencil? Here we go. So now, surface planes wise, it would be to the breast and to that leg. So most of the front of the torso marble statue would be in shadow. Did that make a big difference? No. Is it important to have the light in this going, hitting everything in the correct way? Yes. This was one of the first things I learned back in the day in history of illustration. The teacher showed us all this like artwork where there was like multiple light sources, but it wasn't planned multiple light sources. It was kind of by accident. So yeah, I liked it better the other way. But at least it's syncing up now. Now, technically, yeah, I should be a little bit cleaner with this. Do you teach 4, 5, and 6 point perspective? Yes, I do. So actually, we don't necessarily focus on 6 that much, but 4, yes, absolutely. I just did that week 4 of the semester. And 5 point is that fisheye lens. And I love that. That's yeah, I love fisheye. It's not appropriate pencil mat. I got 14 million pencils on my desk here. It's not appropriate for me and my artwork, but boy, oh boy, is it appropriate for the students and the in the animation world to do. Like a 5 point is really nice. Me personally, like I like this. I like this type of perspective where it's not too extreme and it's just, kind of enough. Okay. So I hope you got something out of that. I know a lot of people really aren't into traditional drawing like this with perspective, but I had to try it, and I didn't have any ideas for the live stream. So we do have both points on the page, so that's cool. So maybe I'll throw in 1 or 2 figure drawings before. I call this one quits this live stream because I do have like a little bit more time, and anyone. So yeah, okay. So maybe we'll do like a figure that's a little bit more anatomy based. So what could I do differently in this piece? Well, this paper is kind of it's not going to take too much more abuse. I could just, before I start another one, I could do a couple more pictures on the wall and little pictures, mixing up the shape language a little bit. Yeah, cool. So we can do stuff like that. And that might make it look a little bit more interesting. It's extremely boring right now. We can put like another statue in. We can do a whole lot of things. We can do two like little sconces over here. There's a lot of we can put something inside of this picture. Maybe it's just like a tall like little mountain thing. Maybe this is kind of like what the American wing would look like uh, with statues and like landscape painting. So I love the American wing at the Met. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. Okay. Let me get. I'm gonna work on this for one more minute, and then we'll switch over and we'll do a quick figure out of our imagination. Good. Okay, we're gonna call this sucker done. Now, when I look at it in my studio, I'll take a picture of it. This wall is darker than that wall. If any of my students from SVA are watching, they're gonna make fun of me that I'm not practicing what I preach, different values for different things, and I've got the excuse that in real life it is darker. I could lighten this. Let me play with the kneaded eraser. A little lighter there. Cool. All right. Yeah, there it is. 2 point vertical using cheap newsprint paper. This is how you sketch out a scene, people. So maybe, how long did that take us? I'm going to say 40 minutes. So in 40 minutes, you can figure out whether or not this is going to be a viable scene for you. And obviously, nowadays, everybody works digitally, and I would do this digitally as well. But for those of you who don't like to work digitally in Procreate or Photoshop, this is how you do it. Okay, this would be like an old school. Uh, I'm just lightening up the floorboards in the light. This would be an old school people way to do a sketch. Okay, and if you're trying to figure like a scene out, like doing it in maybe not newsprint, but maybe like this. Now, one last thing. I know I keep saying one last thing. Just remember that this is like uber black in my studio, and I love the way that it looks. But dark border is very important. Okay, make that border part of your image. Okay, hope you got something from that. Let's remove this. And how big is this, by the way, for those of you? Um, this is about 8.5 inches by 5 inches. So not too big. Okay. Oops. Okie dokie. I can't even talk. I am so tired today. Oh my God. I am so tired. Okay. I'm just setting up the paper for you people here. And I got to gear up for my class starting at 2 o'clock. We're doing a landscape. So the title of that class at Drawing Tutorials Online is how to manipulate your photo reference. So when you draw from photo reference that's pretty but boring, you can be more creative. Okay. So okay, I need to think. I need to think of a different pose. Um, I'm going to do a back view, and I'm just thinking here. I don't have any ideas for a pose. I'm trying to visualize a pose that I haven't. Okay, yeah, let's do this. So where's the top of my page? And let me just click on my software because I got to find the top of my page here. There we are. Ooh, I got a thumbs down. Love it. Okay. And let's go here. And let's go here. Okay. So I'm going to zoom out just a touch. It's a little small for me. Good. I'm going to take the edge off of that pencil point and first mark. So I just want to do talk a little bit about anatomy, but before I talk about anatomy, I just want to sketch out a quick torso. I'm really edge based right now. Into it's nice to flow lines together. Okay. Yeah. Maybe something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna sharpen this sucker. Somebody last week on the live streams, they're like, on the comments, like, why don't you have like a whole bunch of pencils sharpened before you start? I don't know why. That's a good question. Um, okay, let's make this thing happen, or at least let's try to. So I'm gonna start here at a comfortable spot, which would be the hip, and then I'm gonna roll into the center of the glute. And so, first little hint of anatomy would be this sacrum. So, the two dimples there, okay? And so now I want to just think about how this butt would, and hamstring and quad into that knee. Good. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to this side. Actually, let's see. So, rib cage. And now I want this person to be really hunched over. So I'm going to do curvature of the spine, shoulder. And so we've got our shoulder into the neck. And I'm going to have this shoulder kind of tucking under that leg, almost like it's touching that area and of the upper thigh. Good. And then, is that on the camera? I think it is. So now I'm going to just have this model's hair whipping across. That's a little too tall for me, but let's just kind of keep going. Okay, so now knee. And maybe this is going to come down. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about anatomy. I'm gonna resharpen again. Totally gonna resharpen. Oh, all these pencil sharpeners have. Oh, there's my good pencil sharpener. There we go. Okay. Oh, there's a question. I might be new to perspective, but what is the top point for not on the horizon line? Is that a vanishing point? Yes. Okay. So let me grab that drawing again. Timeout. So this is just a formula, okay? And the formula is it's kind of like a 3 point perspective looking up, but instead we're doing it 2 point. So we've got a point over here, and that would be on our horizon line, just like a 1 point, okay? So this would be our horizon line, and that would be the 1 point on the horizon line. So all of these lines are just acting like a 1 point perspective, okay? But the verticals, if the camera is tilted not parallel to the floor, if the camera is tilted up, then all these lines are going to go up to the second point, almost like 3 point perspective looking up. So why do I have the 2 points on this vertical? Well, I have the 2 points on this vertical because that's where your head would be. That's where the camera would be. So I hope that makes sense. So when you think about it, yes. Okay, let me destroy this drawing. This right here is my horizon line. All right, horizon, not HR, Matt. Not HR, Matt. Horizon line. Good. And this is my vertical. And what up with the vertical? Well, the vertical just is where your head is if you're drawing this from life, or it's where the camera is. And that's kind of where the camera's tilting up towards. Or if you're looking up, let's say you're sitting on the floor and you're looking up at this statue. This is kind of extreme that far up, but you've got to look at it this way. It's just a way for you to come up with a different idea in terms of storyboarding and composition. Like, oh, if you do all of your backgrounds like 1 point and 2 point, it'll get boring after a while. So you've got to do something like this to kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay. All right. I hope that explained it. Okay, let's see. What time is it? I think we got like 10 minutes maybe. I'm gonna resharpen this. I'm sorry for the sharpening. I just really like a sharp pencil. I hope that answered your question, Wiggy B. You might have already left us because you're not into the figure, but okay. So now, in terms of anatomy, um, like right here at this model's shoulder, that is the acromion of the scapula. So that scapula would come down, and this is where the scapula would be. This would be, I think it's glenoid fossa, and yes, scapula, right there. And so now this would be your humerus, and that would go down that way. Yes. So it's nice to know, like, just isolate like one area of anatomy, and just like don't get overwhelmed. Perhaps that can come like a little bit lower. Perhaps my scapula, maybe I made it a little bit too wide. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to show you how it's an easy way. And I'm doing this out of my imagination, people. I'm not using reference. This is just like an easy way for you to start learning some anatomy. And so, yeah, now that I ruined the drawing, let's do another one. So let's focus on anatomy over here. So now this would be the sacrum, and it goes down to your coccyx. Okay, and you've got the holes where your nerves, and you've got like the little bumps. So I'm isolating anatomical landmarks. This would be the other scapula. Um, that would kind of go that way. So when you're drawing the edge of the body, this gets like a little edgy. Um, yeah. And so we'd have a little bit of that arm, a little bit of the rib cage. Um, so why did I do this bump here? Because that's the iliac crest of the pelvis. So that's like where that pelvis bone would go. Um, and if I'm shading over here, maybe I'm going to start shading and I'm going to do something like that. Well, that's the greater trochanter. So your greater trochanter would be like right about there. And that's where your femur would start to head out as a cylinder, a curved cylinder for your thigh bone. So yeah, it kind of maybe would be something like that. Again, people on YouTube, I'm doing this out of my imagination. So it's helpful for you to understand these things because this is how you really start to become good at drawing the figure. And so right over here would probably be a floating rib. Perhaps two floating ribs right there. So we've isolated one vertebrae, 7 cervical vertebrae, 2 scapulas, 1 humerus, 1 femur, 1 iliac crest, 1 sacrum, and we could keep going with it, but that's a quick way for you to think about learning anatomy. Wiggy B, I appreciate that. That wasn't my favorite drawing. I maybe I can get my iPad. If you can just give me a second here, I want to see if I have my digital version of that on my iPad. Oh, Photoshop. My iPad has all fingerprints on it, so I'm gonna kind of be embarrassed showing this to you. um, Almost there. Maybe I didn't save it. Okay, I know this is not the most interesting live stream. Okay. So the this is an old one that I did. So this is kind of 2-point looking down, and that's more of a 3-point looking down. And this is very similar here to what we did. Oh boy, my screen is filthy. I'm so embarrassed. Okay. Um, Let me just do this. So this is kind of our 2-point looking down, another 2-point looking down, 3-point looking down. Do I have anything looking up? Hold on, I just need to cancel some stuff out. So this is kind of what we just did, a different version of it. Um, I didn't, unfortunately, save the one that I really liked that we did this past week. So this is kind of how I'm teaching it a little bit in class. I'm just doing these quick, like little sketches. So 3-point looking up, 2-point looking up on. I don't draw this on my iPad. I'm just saving it in Photoshop on my iPad, and then just to share with you some drawing on the iPad. Just some like I'm squeezing in drawings of the model. Drawing this on the iPad in Photoshop during class. We had a pretty good model show up, and my Apple Pencil, ugh, it's in my backpack, and that is across the room. I haven't even unpacked. So anatomy. Do you see the scapula over here? That's pretty cool. Do you see so that's bone, and where else is there a bone? Collarbone. Okay. Just do this in isolation. Rib cage sticking up. Iliac crest. Iliac crest. Rib cage sticking up. A couple of ribs, a couple of ribs. So most of what I'm drawing when I'm drawing the model are these kind of like form lines. that go and describe the form of the model. But my first lines could be gesture, right? And then anatomy on top of the gesture, and then form lines on top of the anatomy. So yes, just these. This one might have been a 5-minute pose. They're all definitely under 5 minutes, and this is what I try to sneak in between teaching the students, because after a while, you got to stop and you got to let the students just work and leave them alone for a couple minutes. All right, people, we've been at it for over an hour, and I hope you learned something from this live stream. And I learned a lot, and what I learned is I will never do a drawing again on newsprint like that for the live stream. Now, listen, let me show you one that I did for my Zoom class last week. Okay, let me go get it. Time out. Yeah, so this was my Lyra on newsprint. Let me zoom out. Oop, no, that's zooming in, Matt. Okay, timeout. Yes. So I used my Lyra. So I guess I like this pencil better than that ebony. And this was a 45-minute drawing, a tutorial on how to draw a snowy landscape with perspective and all that jazz, and gradations and lots of things happening. And so I thought that I enjoyed this on working this way on the newsprint. Now that let's do a comparison. Timeout. So when I look at, and you gotta do the border, people. The border is kind of what makes it. And now I look at this, and I'm like, oh, geez, okay. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but so I guess my philosophy would be like less is best with the graphite pencil on newsprint. Less is best. All right. I think that's all I got for you this week, people. And there's a slight chance I might come back on again tomorrow. I have an appointment. Somebody's supposed to come to my house. They didn't give me a time. If they come really early, I might come back on YouTube. And yes. So thank you, everybody, for watching. And again, my name is Matt, and I teach at the School of Visual Arts. I've been teaching there for 27 years. And I also teach at drawingtutorialsonline.com. I've had that website now since 2009. And I teach perspective, figure drawing, anatomy, all this stuff. So if you want to learn more about that, I've got some links in the show more part of this live stream video. And thank you so much. Thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you know when I'm going live, and we'll talk to you soon.